Those of you who were in court observed and heard what happened. What was a little bit difficult was that the judge only gave us 10 minutes to argue something that, is kind of complex. Both issues are complex. So he denied the motion to dismiss, which is not surprising because the law is very restrictive on that. They don't like to find selective enforcement because they say the prosecution has great discretion in charging people. And unless you can show specific discriminatory intent, you're not going to get it. So that's not a surprise. The second motion is whether or not we're going to be able to have our expert testify about the torture. And that's very important to our case, and it's a difficult question as well, and he's going to answer that in a week in a written opinion. It's going to be difficult. It's also a difficult issue because the law is limited. So that's basically what happened. The thing that was somewhat surprising to me is he only gave us 10 minutes to argue those things. I mean, what's the hurry? Why not give us a half hour? But that's the judge's, he has the power to do that. The other thing that was raised is we're trying to have a jury questionnaire, which with the prospective jurors fill out questions before they come into the courtroom. And we get to find out much more about their demographic background before they actually get questioned live. And he's probably not going to grant that either because that's going to create a 10-week delay in the trial. And unless he wants to delay the trial, I don't think that's going to happen. So every time you guys come to court, it's really important. He sees the people in court. He knows that Rasmea has a support, and that makes a difference. So thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Yeah.
Will you say that to folks? So
yeah, we're gonna. I know some people couldn't get in, and we're gonna try and get a bigger room. We may not get one until the trial. When we have the actual trial with the jury, the judge said he will get us a bigger room or an overflow room. So we'll have to see what happens in the 21st.
Any the journalists here or want to ask any questions? You should do that before we move on.
Yeah. So the one point when he when you were presenting all the evidence about how this was a discriminatory, prosecution and so on, and the prosecution's answer was, well, that's not really evidence and that's just thrown out. That is typical? I mean, you were presenting evidence of events that had happened.
Yeah, it's somewhat complicated. I kind of had a different spin on the usual selective enforcement. I said that the investigation was selective. They decided to investigate her because of her political activity. Usually it's the indictment is selective, and in order to show that, you have to show people who are in the same situation as she were not charged, and that gets very complicated, and I'm not surprised he denied that. I just wanted him to hear about the history and the context of this case. So if he was listening, and maybe that would be helpful in the future.
Anybody else? Ali Harb or Ali Abu Nerma?
Did you feel that his comments were more positive than the previous judge?
I think he's much more open than the previous judge. He doesn't have a kind of fixed mindset about the issues in the case. Whether that's going to help us in the end, I can't say, but I definitely think he's got a much more open attitude about everything than the other judge. Seems much more relaxed than the other judge.
Tom or either Ali, anybody wants to, any other journalists in the room?
You have a card.
Oh,
Business card.
yeah, I do.
بعطيك رقم تلفون